Welcome to the tyranny of time. Why are we so obsessed with the future? Time is one of humanity's deepest fascinations and greatest struggles. We constantly look forward, making plans, setting goals, and imagining what's next. Yet this forward focus can prevent us from truly living in the moment. Ancient philosophers, modern psychologists, and spiritual teachers alike warn about the costs of obsessing over what has not yet arrived. The future holds promise, but it can also bring anxiety and dissatisfaction with the present. This presentation investigates how we perceive time and why the future dominates so much of our attention. Together, we'll explore philosophical, cultural, and psychological perspectives on our relationship with time. By the end, we will ask ourselves, are we truly living or simply waiting for life to begin? Different cultures and philosophies conceptualize time in strikingly different ways. Western thought tends to see time as linear, progressing from past to present to future. This linear model encourages planning, goal setting, and anticipation, but can foster anxiety and impatience. Many Eastern traditions, such as Hinduism and Buddhism, view time as cyclical, emphasizing recurring patterns, rebirth, and continuity. Cyclical time can reduce fear of the future, framing events as natural rhythms rather than irreversible loss. Philosophical ideas of an eternal present suggest that past and future are illusions, and reality exists only in the now. Augustine pondered the paradox of temporal perception. The past is memory, the future is expectation, and the present is fleeting. Heidegger and contemporary phenomenologists explore how temporal awareness shapes our sense of self. Neuroscience shows that humans have specialized brain mechanisms for anticipating the future, which can create both adaptive and maladaptive behaviors. Mindfulness and meditation practices seek to shift attention from future anxieties to present awareness. Our obsession with time often reflects an internal tension between anticipation and experience. Linear time drives productivity and planning, while cyclical or present-focused views encourage acceptance and presence. Recognizing these different frameworks allows us to choose how we relate to time. Understanding these models is essential to addressing our obsession with the future and reclaiming our experience of life. By exploring the philosophy of time, we can start to see how our choices and perceptions shape daily existence. Our obsession with the future has measurable effects on mental health. Studies link excessive future-focused thinking to anxiety, stress, and depression. The brain constantly anticipates potential threats or outcomes, which can cause chronic worry. Psychologists describe future-oriented rumination as a major contributor to emotional exhaustion. On the other hand, planning and foresight can be adaptive and support goal achievement. This duality highlights a paradox. Time awareness is essential, but can be harmful when unbalanced. Mindfulness-based therapies often target these cognitive patterns to reduce stress. Techniques like meditation encourage attention to present experiences rather than hypothetical future problems. Neuroimaging shows that prefrontal cortex activity spikes during anticipatory thinking. While anticipation helps survival, it can also distort perception and decrease happiness. Understanding this psychological dynamic allows us to create healthier relationships with time. Ancient Stoics warned about anxiety over future events, emphasizing acceptance. Similarly, Buddhist thought encourages detachment from imagined outcomes. Balancing future orientation with present awareness is key to emotional well-being. Ultimately, learning how to navigate our thoughts about time is central to human flourishing. Procrastination often arises from a tension between present desire and future responsibility. We delay actions because the future feels abstract or distant, while immediate comfort dominates. Research in behavioral economics shows that humans are prone to temporal discounting, valuing present rewards over future benefits. Philosophers like Kierkegaard noted that anxiety about possibilities can immobilize us. The same mechanism can explain why we obsess about the future, yet fail to act in the present. Mindfulness and time awareness interventions can reduce procrastination by anchoring attention to immediate steps. Productivity techniques like the Pomodoro method leverage short bursts of focus to counter temporal avoidance. Neuroscience indicates that the brain's prefrontal cortex is key in managing these impulses. Recognizing procrastination as a temporal misalignment helps us understand it philosophically and psychologically. Ancient wisdom often emphasized the virtue of acting in the present rather than waiting indefinitely. By reframing the future as a guide rather than a source of anxiety, we can take meaningful action. Even small steps toward goals reinforce self efficacy and reduce stress. Procrastination thus reveals the tension between abstract future thinking and embodied present experience. Cultivating temporal awareness can transform inaction into intentional engagement. Understanding this paradox is crucial for reclaiming our time and reducing the tyranny of future obsession. Time is not only a personal experience, but a cultural construct. Societies organize life around calendars, holidays, and rituals that mark temporal milestones. Ancient civilizations tracked celestial patterns to structure agriculture and religious practices. These rituals instill a sense of rhythm and continuity, connecting individual lives to communal cycles. Anthropologists note that some cultures view time cyclically, emphasizing repetition rather than linear progression. This perspective can reduce anxiety about the future by situating events within natural cycles. Western societies, in contrast, emphasize deadlines, progress, and linear achievement. The cultural framing of time shapes our priorities, stress levels, and sense of urgency. Philosopher E.P. Thompson explored how industrialization compressed time and intensified future focused thinking. Time pressure affects work, family, and leisure, influencing overall well being. Rituals, from birthdays to religious festivals, create temporal anchors and communal memory. By engaging in shared temporal practices, individuals find meaning and orientation in life. Understanding cultural differences in time perception reveals why obsession with the future varies. Studying these patterns can inspire strategies to slow down and appreciate the present. Ultimately, culture mediates our temporal awareness and shapes the human experience of time. Literature provides a mirror to human experience with time. Novelists often explore the tension between memory, anticipation, and lived experience. Proust's In Search of Lost Time investigates how memory and temporal perception define identity. Tolstoy's War and Peace examines the interplay between historical time and individual action. These narratives reveal the psychological and philosophical dimensions of time obsession. They allow readers to vicariously experience temporal reflection and anxiety. Poetry and essays frequently meditate on fleeting moments, mortality, and the anticipation of the future. Stories shape cultural consciousness, offering models for managing or mismanaging time. Literature demonstrates that human preoccupation with the future is not a modern phenomenon. Ancient epics and religious texts grapple with destiny, fate, and the impermanence of life. Reading these works encourages contemplation and self-awareness. The act of engaging with narrative time can inspire mindfulness and reflection. Writers provide both cautionary tales and insights for living in the moment. Time in literature is both a philosophical question and an emotional exploration. By learning from these narratives, we gain perspective on our own obsession with future outcomes. Neuroscience reveals that humans are biologically oriented toward the future. The prefrontal cortex is critical for planning, anticipation, and decision making. Dopamine pathways signal rewards expected in the future, motivating behavior, but also driving anxiety. The hippocampus plays a role in recalling the past and imagining future scenarios, linking memory and anticipation. Studies of patients with frontal lobe damage show diminished concern for future consequences, highlighting its importance. Evolutionarily, anticipating threats and opportunities was essential for survival. Excessive future thinking, however, can overstimulate neural circuits and reduce present awareness. Neuroplasticity allows us to train the brain through mindfulness and focused attention. Meditation has been shown to alter prefrontal activity, enhancing present focused cognition. Cognitive behavioral therapy targets maladaptive future oriented thoughts to reduce stress. Understanding these mechanisms provides a biological explanation for the tyranny of time. Awareness of neural predispositions empowers us to cultivate balanced temporal perspectives. Our biology both constrains and enables our experience of time. Insights from neuroscience complement philosophical and psychological perspectives. Integrating this knowledge encourages intentional strategies to manage temporal attention and well being. Mindfulness emphasizes awareness of the present moment without judgment. Research shows that present focused attention reduces stress, anxiety, and rumination about the future. Eckhart Tolle's The Power of Now popularized the concept of living fully in the present. Meditation, yoga, and breathing exercises are practical ways to cultivate this awareness. Mindfulness can change neural pathways, enhancing prefrontal control and reducing amygdala hyperactivity. Philosophically, living in the now aligns with Stoic principles of accepting what is beyond our control. Flow, as described by Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, occurs when attention is fully absorbed in the present task. Experiencing flow improves performance, creativity, and satisfaction. Mindfulness practice requires consistent effort and reflection. It can counterbalance cultural pressures to obsess about future achievement. Even brief moments of mindful attention can improve emotional regulation. Awareness of the present allows us to appreciate experiences that are otherwise overshadowed by future worries. Cultivating presence is a skill, not merely a concept. Integrating mindfulness into daily life enhances the quality of our relationships and work. Ultimately, mindfulness teaches that time is not an enemy, but a medium for experience. Procrastination results from imbalance between future concern and present engagement. Awareness of this tension allows intentional redirection of energy. Mindfulness encourages focus on immediate tasks, reducing avoidance. Small incremental actions bridge present action with future goals. Cognitive strategies, like breaking tasks into manageable steps, align with temporal awareness. Reflection on motivation clarifies why some tasks are avoided. Philosophers suggest that virtuous action occurs when intention and attention coincide. Modern productivity systems, like time blocking, operationalize this philosophical insight. Neuroscience confirms that prefrontal activation supports self regulation in task completion. Mindfulness strengthens executive control, mitigating impulsive avoidance. Balancing presence and anticipation optimizes personal growth and goal achievement. Overcoming procrastination requires understanding both psychological and temporal mechanisms. Awareness allows us to navigate deadlines without succumbing to anxiety. Integrating mindfulness into daily tasks transforms chores into conscious acts. Mastering this balance reduces stress and enhances life satisfaction. Throughout history, humans have conceptualized time in varied ways. Pre industrial societies often operated on natural cycles of sunlight, seasons, and communal rhythms. Industrialization introduced strict schedules, work shifts, and standardized timekeeping. Philosopher E.P. Thompson argued that this time discipline created modern anxieties and obsession with punctuality. The Industrial Revolution accelerated future oriented thinking, connecting productivity with survival and success. Calendars, clocks, and timetables became symbols of authority over life. Religious observances maintained cyclic rhythms but were increasingly subordinated to economic demands. Literature from the 19th century reflects growing awareness of temporal pressure and its psychological toll. Philosophical discussions evolved to critique the tyranny of structured time. Today, digital technology amplifies these pressures, fostering constant connectivity and expectation. Social media and notifications fragment attention, creating an illusion of urgency. Awareness of historical context helps us understand cultural and psychological roots of temporal obsession. By studying past attitudes toward time, we learn lessons for present living. Recognizing historical patterns empowers conscious choices about how we engage with time. Ultimately, history shows both the necessity and the cost of future focused behavior. Modern technology reshapes how we experience time. Smartphones, social media, and instant messaging create constant temporal pressure. The brain receives frequent interruptions, reducing sustained attention. Multitasking divides cognitive resources, making minutes feel fragmented and days feel short. Psychologists note that digital stimulation heightens anxiety about the future. Social media feeds encourage comparison and fear of missing out. FOMO. Notifications act as mini deadlines, demanding immediate response. This digital acceleration intensifies obsession with productivity and planning. Philosopher Martin Heidegger distinguished between authentic and inauthentic time, warning that technological distractions foster inauthentic engagement. Time becomes measured not by meaningful experiences, but by constant activity. Overuse can lead to stress, fatigue, and reduced satisfaction. Intentional digital use counters these pressures by prioritizing meaningful interaction. Scheduling offline periods supports present focused awareness. Awareness of technology's influence empowers deliberate control over time. Ultimately, technology can both liberate and enslave our temporal experience. Philosophers have long grappled with the nature of time. Augustine famously asked, "What then is time? If no one asks me, I know. If I wish to explain it to one that asks, I know not." He highlighted the paradoxical, subjective nature of temporal awareness. Kant considered time a fundamental framework of human perception rather than an external entity. Heidegger emphasized living authentically in the present as opposed to being lost in future anxiety. Eastern philosophies, such as Zen Buddhism, focus on the eternal present and the illusory nature of linear progression. Time can be understood as linear, cyclical, or relative, depending on cultural, scientific, and philosophical perspectives. These frameworks influence behavior, ethics, and psychological health. Recognizing multiple perspectives helps navigate our personal obsession with future events. Philosophical reflection allows intentional choice in how we relate to time. Awareness of temporal theories can reduce anxiety and improve decision making. Existentialists remind us that mortality and finitude give urgency to time, but also clarity for meaningful action. Integrating these insights fosters mindful living. Understanding philosophical approaches enhances critical thinking about time management and life priorities. Studying these perspectives encourages reflection on personal temporal values. Ultimately, philosophy provides tools to confront our complex relationship with time. Slowing down offers psychological and physiological benefits. Studies show that taking breaks enhances focus, reduces stress, and improves cognitive function. Creative insights often emerge when attention is relaxed, rather than hyper-focused on deadlines. Slowing down encourages deeper engagement with activities and relationships. Mindful walking, journaling, or contemplative pauses help recalibrate our temporal perception. Philosophers like Thoreau emphasized simplicity and reflection to connect with life's essence. Overemphasis on efficiency often sacrifices quality of experience. Pausing allows us to evaluate priorities and align actions with values. Awareness of time scarcity can paradoxically create the space to live more fully. Slowing down also strengthens empathy by providing mental bandwidth for others. Neurobiology confirms that restful periods facilitate memory consolidation and emotional processing. Slowing down fosters an internal sense of rhythm, independent of external pressures. Life satisfaction correlates with the balance between activity and mindful rest. Deliberate engagement in the present enriches creativity, well being, and perspective. Cultivating pauses is a practical strategy against the tyranny of obsessive future thinking. Mortality is central to our perception of time. Knowing that life is finite intensifies the value of each moment. Existential philosophers, such as Heidegger, argue that confronting mortality inspires authentic living. Death awareness also explains our preoccupation with future planning and long-term goals. Yet anxiety about dying can trap us in fear, preventing full engagement in the present. Literature and art reflect the human attempt to reconcile temporality and mortality. Cultures create rituals and memorials to structure time in relation to life and death. Mortality motivates reflection on legacy, purpose, and ethical priorities. Awareness of finitude can increase gratitude and strengthen relationships. Time management strategies often implicitly respond to mortality awareness. Recognizing the inevitability of endings encourages balanced planning and mindful presence. Human creativity and philosophy often emerge from the tension between fleeting life and timeless ideas. Meditation and contemplation can transform mortality awareness into appreciation rather than dread. Embracing finitude helps alleviate obsession with an uncertain future. By facing death philosophically, we reclaim our experience of the present moment. As we approach the end of our journey, it's worth looking at resources that can deepen your understanding of time and its hold on us. Martin Heidegger's Being and Time is a foundational work in existential philosophy, exploring how our awareness of mortality and temporality shapes human existence. St. Augustine's Confessions famously wrestles with the question, what then is time? Offering both theological and philosophical reflections that continue to influence thinkers today. Henri Bergson's Time and Free Will introduces the concept of duration, emphasizing the difference between lived time and measured time. Carlo Rovelli's The Order of Time brings a physicist's perspective, challenging our assumptions about the past, present, and future through the lens of modern science. For accessible discussions, Stephen West's Philosophize This podcast offers clear and engaging explorations of thinkers who grappled with time. Krista Tippett's On Being podcast provides conversations with philosophers, scientists, and spiritual leaders on how time shapes our sense of meaning. Each of these works illuminates a different aspect of the problem, from the metaphysical to the deeply personal. Reading or listening to them won't provide all the answers, but it will open doors to richer reflections. They encourage us not just to think about time, but to experience it differently. Heidegger urges us to confront our temporality with authenticity. Augustine calls us to humility before mysteries we cannot solve. Bergson reminds us to trust lived experience over abstract measurement. Ravelli shows us how physics reshapes philosophy in unexpected ways. Together, these voices form a chorus, asking us to reconsider how we spend our fleeting moments. These resources are not just about time, they are about how to live. We have seen how time can both guide and trap us. The obsession with the future is deeply rooted in our psychology and culture. Yet it is within our power to reshape how we live each day. Mindfulness and slowing down help us return to the present. Mortality, though daunting, reminds us of life's urgency and beauty. Technology may accelerate time, but intentional use can restore balance. Philosophy and science together offer strategies for reclaiming control over our attention. Ultimately, each of us must decide whether to be ruled by the clock or to live fully in the now. So, I leave you with this question. Are you living your life or merely anticipating it?